Hello and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about something that's sort of near dear to my heart, and something that I hope will help people out in the future with having discussions about their favorite series and properties and all that good stuff. So today we're going to be talking about the 3 C's of anime discussion. It's what I have taken to calling this method that I came up with here, and basically it's just to say that this is applying psychological techniques to conversations about our favorite series. The 3 C's are character, case, conceptualization. These are just fancy terms of saying this is a way that we can talk about our favorite series here. It comes from psychology, and I'll tell you a little bit about sort of the backstory of it here, but also more about how we're going to use it, and hopefully you'll come away with an understanding of some of the other videos that are to follow on this channel. So the first thing is sort of why do I think this is a good idea, right? And the first piece here is that it just simply allows you to have deeper discussions. So using this technique in the field, in psychology, one of the major things is that you have to consult with people and you have to find a way to communicate a lot of information in a sort of concise way, but also in a way that fosters discussion. So by using this technique for anime or manga or movies or TV, you'll be able to communicate that information and get to a deeper level of discussion. Because I don't know about you, but one of my least favorite things when you're talking to somebody about something you love is, you say like, oh, hey, I really love this show. And they look at you and go, oh, well, I haven't seen it. And then the conversation stops. So the nice part about this is going to help you get around that roadblock a little bit. The second piece of what helps is just straight up love for the things we like, right? Being able to communicate that and talk about the things you love, talk about it with people, even if maybe they don't love it the same way, only makes that love stronger in some ways, right? So I'm a huge fan of Evangelion, and I don't know a lot of people that love to talk about it, but I've been able to use this to kind of get over that gap a little bit. And the last thing here is, like I just said, Evangelion was really important to this process. So I have some really close friends, love them to death, would do almost anything for them, and we strongly disagree on one of my favorite shows of all time, which is Evangelion, right? And the idea actually was born out of conversations about the show because I was, really wanting to have a deeper level of conversation with these friends and not really finding it. And so this is something that, hey, if I apply this, maybe it'll get a little bit better. So that's why I came up with this idea. So when I said earlier, a case conceptualization, here's the basic version. A case conceptualization in psychology is just a report. It's a report based on information gathered, things I know about a client maybe, or someone I'm working with. And then you put it together and you explain what's going on for your client, right? So if I have a client that's suffering from depression, then I would put together all of the information I have with the lens of helping explain why that person is depressed or how their depression looks. Yeah. The other part of this is that a therapist or a counselor will look for very specific things here. And this can be almost anything. For my practice in psychology, this can be things people have said to you, things they haven't said but you've noticed. This can be behavior, this can be emotions, this can be thoughts that they have. But anything that you're given or that you have that develops a picture of that person's experience. Because what you're trying to do is like sort of summarize their experience, put it all together in a way that helps you work with that person and make the changes they want to make or the changes that they need. And so this is what you would use a case conceptualization for. So you would get together with one or more people. You would tell all the other people in the room, because remember, they don't see your client. Only you see your client. You would give them the best possible rundown you can, and then you'd work together to broaden out what you're talking about. They could help you with what to do next, but you got to give them accurate and useful information so that they can come up with their own ideas. And that's what we're going to do here. So when you're talking about case conceptualization, there's really 3 main points that you're dealing with. The first one is how does the counselor understand the client? So if I'm a therapist, how do I understand their behavior? This might look different from how they actually state things are, which is an important distinction. The second one is, what do you think needs to be addressed? Is it thoughts? Is it feelings? Is it behaviors? What's going on? What do you want to work with? And then the third one would be, what is your theory? And how does that inform your goals? In psychology, this would be everybody comes from a different point of view. So what does your point of view have to say about this particular thing? And these are more specifically focused to psychology, but we'll talk about it and transform it a little bit to use it to talk about, the media we want to talk about here. So I'll break this down for you into 3 points, and this is going to be the easiest piece. These 3 things are really all you need to remember, and this will help you have these conversations. So the first one is, what are we seeing? This is factual information. This is stuff that happens, right? So if you're describing an anime, you're going to be describing to me all the things that happen in that anime to that character, or have happened in that character's life previous to the anime starting, right? Now, this can be kind of confusing. I would suggest that you don't always share the plot of every single thing you're talking about with every single person you're talking about it with, because then you'll spoil it for him. But you can use this at your own discretion here to give them a picture. So you tell them, what are you seeing, right? What's their backstory? How do you deal with it? The second piece is, how do you, as the person communicating it, understand all that information? So if you explain to me a character's whole backstory and their whole life, what does that mean? What do you make of that information? And the cool part about this is going to be that you and I might have totally different orientations to what that means. You might say the exact same story, and everybody in that room will have a totally different perspective on it. And that's actually the meat of what we're going to get at here. And then the third piece is, what can be done, right? And in the context of therapy, we would talk about, what are goals for therapy? What changes do we want? But in the context of this, when we're just talking about anime and manga and TV or whatever, really let's talk about, what do you want to see next? What would be good for that character? What would be good for that show? What are you hoping happens? What do you wish would have happened if the show's over or if they're not making it anymore? But keep in mind these 3 things, because if you don't remember anything else, if you just remember how to do these 3 things, you're going to be in a really good place to have this conversation out in the wild with people. And with that, those are the basics for talking about our 3 C's. So all you need to remember, again, are, what are we seeing? How do we understand the information? And what can be done? And I hope this has been sort of informative. This is a pretty basic level version of this. And in the future, I hope that you'll see some more applied versions of this where I'll run you through some examples. And I hope to have these sort of conversations with you all in the future. But with that being said, I will catch you all in the next one. Thanks.